you. Yeah, I just want to start. Thanks, Sam, Bobby. This is pretty cool. These are obviously the most unique of times for all of us. And I tell you what, I'm just incredibly thankful to the coaching community. It's been a huge positive really in my life. It's kind of been one of those big things that have helped me kind of continue to progress. But seeing the amount of people who are starting these chats and these Zooms and the webinars and just the increase in knowledge being shared is really, really cool. And I think something that's pretty unique to be a part of. Ironically, I hope that continues once we get into season because some things seem to change there once we start to share ideas and maybe get a little more secretive. The reality of it is I think half our schedule the last 2 years is on this chat and it is for the future. So, I'm all about sharing, and I think that's important that all of us are. And, I just appreciate this opportunity and that this is going on really in our world today. Going to talk about our pattern match coverage, just what that means to us, how we teach it, and things of that nature, which we'll get into in a second. There's some brief contact info. That'll be up on the last slide too. I want to try to quickly get through these slides and then into some film if I can. Do think it's important to always give credit to where credit's due. There's many more influences than this, but these four guys have had a pretty huge kind of impact on where I've gone and continue to go. And Chad Hedlett out of Glenbar West, I think, is one of the best defensive coaches in the country. He's the fastest coach to 100 wins in Illinois State history. He's really where I got a chance to sink my teeth in with the 3-3 stack, and he's been a huge mentor of mine in the last 5 or 6 years. So I can't thank him enough for what he's done. Coach Pat Cerrone, who I think is on this chat, has been huge and hugely generous to me and to our program the last 2 years especially. Always appreciate our time as we get a chance to hang out. Same with Coach Stenny, who we just heard present earlier today, Coach Angelotti, some of those guys at UW Oshkosh. And then two of my assistant coaches, Tyler Kunick, who actually is our outside linebackers, but teaches leadership and a mental training program, which we got a couple articles out there, X's and O Labs and some other things. And if you ever get a chance to meet him, it's a worthwhile experience. And everything really that Coach Yashinsky just talked about are things that we do. And to be honest, that's really the reason I'd say the foundation for our success. It has nothing to do with the football side of things. It has everything to do with the mental capacity and the pieces that we built there. And then Coach Nick Schmidlkoffer has a huge part of that too. He's kind of the quality control guy. I look at those two guys as the brain trust. I think they do a lot of things that elevate our program, that make me look good, that make my job a hell of a lot easier. And they definitely help, just connect kids and got kids the best interest. And you got dudes like that on your staff. They're incredibly influential to you, and your kids, which is pretty special. Okay. Really quick before we talk about the coverage aspect of it, is just a quick, everyone likes to talk culture, philosophy, and those things. And we're big on mindset, and we're big on those three, the words up top, and it's about us. We try to put a lot of the emphasis every single week on us. We will study and prepare like no other for our opponent and try to know our opponent in and out. But at the end of the day, we sell to ourselves as coaches and kids that, we need to get ourselves lined up and attack what we see and with what we see. And we build in a lot of those pieces here. We talk about being 100% of 100% in these three categories, all right, and dominate the controllables. So we want to be, 100% correct, all right, with 100% effort really in each of these categories. So these are our three goals when we go into a game every week. We won't talk about much else besides these pieces because we feel they're all controllable, all right, and I think you can coach it. And I think what's cool about the film and just coaching in general is seeing what you emphasize show up on tape. And some of the notes when we share some film today are going to talk about that. But we want to be mentally in a great place. It starts with alignment assignment. You heard Coach Niekamp talk about that at the start of this thing tonight, right? Getting lined up. We place a huge emphasis, all right, on alignment. I would say that's probably the number one emphasis we place, all right, in addition to playing hard, which we'll get to in a second, all right? But we got to get lined up. We got to know our assignment. We got to do our job, all right? I think obviously we coach this. I think of all these on here, this is probably the one that is fairly obvious that we all probably coach, okay? But effort is coachable, all right? And, sometimes that best whatever in the state gets thrown around, all right? Maybe too much, but the reality is that's a goal, right? You want to be, and I don't know that you can ever quantify that, okay? But I think you can see that show up on tape, all right, with how passionately, how energetically, your kids sprint to the football, right? And in waves. And we talk about whether it be the black storm or the white storm or whatever the hell jerseys we got wearing, or we want to see that storm show up at the football every single week, right? And that's the expectation, regardless who's on the field for us, right? And that starts, really from the freshman level on up, okay? And then the other piece is the enthusiasm and just coach it. Bring the juice, play with passion. You got to do it yourself as a coach, but I think you got to see that show up on tape. Okay? You make a big play in a game, there better be some celebration. There better be some hooping and hollering. I think we all work way too hard, really, Saturday to Sunday into the week, not to celebrate and have some fun during some successful moments on Friday. So we're pretty passionate about that. And I think you can coach it, and I think you see it show up on tape, and we'll be able to talk about that a little bit. Okay, the philosophy and the coverage overview piece and just our base pass fits. These are just some general things that I want to kind of fly through. But we're big believers in pattern reading, all right, for the emphasis that your kids learn to defend route concepts, all right? And we want it to be incredibly, incredibly physical, which we'll get through in a second. But we talk about finding work, all right? And work is just matching a route, all right? We do not spot drop. We don't even use the verbiages in our program. We don't talk about flat, hook, curl, mid hook, weak hook, any low hole, strong hole, nothing like that. All right, we talk all in terms of matching 3-2 or 2-1, all right, and those different pieces. So, in terms of the why behind this, we're huge on the physicality, the fine work, and then we found that it eliminates the grass guarding, right? The dreaded guarding of grass from a defensive coach, right, has probably led to a lot of early retirements, all right? And the other big piece is we want to protect the seams, which we're really going to get into. We're a huge cover 3 team, but we play just enough cover 2 to kind of disguise some things. And the reality is we want to protect the vertical throw, all right? And we want to force everything, run and pass, honestly, to go east and west, all right? And we feel if we can do those things, protect the seams, make that ball go either via fade or short and wide, all right, we can run it down and keep the ball in front of us, right? Control the big plays, all right? The ending routes, the reroutes piece is something that we know we're trying our best at. We're not nearly good enough at, but what has happened more than anything, right, is we have disrupted timing, all right? We've disrupted timing. We have there's a fair share of clips of us putting receivers on the ground. That's something that we want to celebrate. It's nothing dirty. The reality is before the ball is put in the air, all right, as a defense, one advantage you got is to put your hands on guys, all right? So that's something we start in 7-on-7 and try to ugly the game up that way, right? And it's just that mentality of finding work, getting a physical threat and making sure you hit somebody is a huge part of what we do. Okay, we do feel that this has helped us, just become smarter football players too. The pre-snap identification piece, I think the learning of route concepts is under the pattern read piece, has been huge for our kids in terms of the teaching to understand pre-snap where their fits may be once they get a run or a pass key, and then how that aligns with their post-snap fit, all right? Going off that, then just briefly, the no-fly zone, just anything under 5 yards, something that we're not going to chase. Okay, we're not going to take that bait like our offensive compadres want us to. Okay, here's a really, really old diagram. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but it just lays out the premise for you. Our warrior here on our call side to our strength, right? He has a tight end and a split to his side. Okay, so for him, this is our base cover 3. Okay, if he were to get a hi-hat key, some end man release from that tight end, all right, he's essentially sprinting with to number 1, immediately looking to sprint and get into essentially what would be that flat area, all right? If one were to take off, okay, he may get depth, but also need to snap his head back, right? Are we getting some type of fade and an out, right, type concept, all right? So those are things that we'll look for, right, for that position there. If he sees number 2 go vertically immediately again, he's sprinting with. All right, with that piece, our strong linebacker here, the S, he knows pre-snap 2-1. Right, I get a pass key. Okay, I'm going to work 2-1. All right, so where is 2? All right, at the start of the formation. Again, formation rec. All right, here's number 2 in the formation as an inline tight end. Yes, we still see him. They've actually kind of made a comeback lately, right? So if anything pass-wise, immediately that's my initial threat. There better not be a vertical release from the tight end. All right, we've seen some pretty damn good tight ends in our league and in our playoff schedule the last couple of years, and we expect to. Those are guys we got to get hands on and be aware of. Okay. Most importantly, away from this is our blood, our Bs, usually our boundary side outside linebacker. All right, those guys, they get to that detached number 2. There's an automatic check Z-Tech. Okay, this is something straight from Coach Chad Hetlett. Okay, this is kind of the seam protection piece that I referenced. He gets a pass key, he's immediately keying two. Whether that's twins or trips, does not matter if it's attached to. That's just a base camp rule. And he's immediately going to look to protect that seam. If two's pushing vertical or breaking glass, looking like he's really pushing, trying to take the seam, take the roof off of defense, we're going to pop our feet. We're going to look to violently reroute that thing, ideally inside, so we can get that pinball effect with our quick, right, whose base rule is working 2-to-1. He does have to be aware of 3 in a formation, along such as this, all right, but we can kind of do that in a peripheral way as we coach. Okay, obviously with the reroute, he's not sprinting with under to match 1, all right, but I just want you to kind of understand the seam protection piece, inside wall protecting pieces with our linebackers. Obviously, if we blitz one should replace the other in coverage. We'll be able to see that on the film clips that we show here shortly. All right, our corners, you know, they're your basic divider players, all right? We're trying to get, you know, even better at playing. I won't call it a bail third, but we're trying to be really, really good with a read to speed type pedal situation. I know I met with Coach Cerrone 2 years ago, and he told me, you ain't playing cover 3, you're playing cover 1, right? And that's, in some ways, that's the goal, right? Is to give that illusion, is to play that aggressive if you can, but still being sound, still being able to get to your divider, still having great eye discipline and understanding, right? You know, the talent that you're playing, the concepts that you can see in those things, all right? Obviously, our free safety is our middle third player, all right? In our scheme, we want that kid to be a stud. Obviously, we got a pretty damn good one right now, probably the best we'll ever have, so we got to make sure we take advantage of what we got while we got it. So let's try to get to some tape. You guys can still see this, correct, Bobby?
Yep.
All right, beautiful. So as we get rolling, okay, and guys, these film clips for the last 2 years, I'm going to try to stay with just the wide because we have we're talking pass for the most part. Really, what I want you to see here, and it'll pause with the comment, is these are two outside linebackers. My apologies. Okay, our two outside linebackers. We talked our seam protectors. Here's a 2x2. Okay, we're going to get a straight seam out look. They know if two's up the seams, okay, I better be rerouting. Okay, and this is the ideal piece. We want to see that force inside, right, to our help. There's our stack backer working out 2-to-1. You get the same effect there, all right? Getting hands on, guys. That's what it's all about for us. Force that deep throw. We're in a good place, okay? And that's really the base premise of this, okay? This clip versus Conomowoc is in here versus literally the communication piece. This week, they checked this, right? We're going to communicate and check out. That's all that's celebrating. All right, they check, we check. I want you to see our field side outside and our field side stack, who happens to be playing up at Oshkosh, do a magnificent job trading. Our field side outside wants to bite. He doesn't. He sees 2 going in, so he breaks with as he sees 3 coming out the gate, and we see our play side stack go end this route. Okay? That's the beauty of it all, right? And it's the same piece. We get really into the boundary, okay? We get hands-on. You know, do we need to come up this aggressively? No, all right? Do we necessarily mind it on 4th and 3? No, not at all, all right? Do we got to do a hell of a lot better job containing? Absolutely, all right? But thankfully, this isn't a pass rush clinic. Okay, here's dropping down and playing a little bit of cover 2. This is big in 2018. So we roll, we show some cover 2 actually here. All right, again, I want to focus on our field side outside, field side stack. We're talking end and routes. All right, 2 and 3 are going to get absolutely pinballed here. Boom. All right, down they go. All right, we got bodies on the ground. We're in a good place. That's something we like to celebrate. That's something that means a lot to us, and something that, you know, we always want to emphasize. Do we got to do a better job rolled up as a cover 2 corner? Absolutely. All right, but we were solid on the backside as well. It's kind of tough to see. All right, but we got hands on there. All right, we're in a good place. We're not chasing the shallow route. All right, rat's a rat. Right, rat. Let that thing go. Get yourself some depth. All right. So I love seeing us how we fit that up there. Okay, quads. So here's 4x1. Okay, a little bit of a bunch look to it too. So we're in an overset. There's actually, we took our boundary side outside linebacker. There he is, right? And there's our warrior, right? So you see those 2 kids in the adjustment here. He's a little walked up due to the compressed set, all right? We're likely rolled a little bit to all those numbers and probably bumped a little bit when we talk about aligning the win and the numbers, all right? Locked up back here most likely. We felt good about the matchup, all right? So we're going to roll, all right? You see this is 100% a coverage sack. That's probably what this note's going to be, and that's all it's going to be. All right, I just want you to see again, okay? Do a nice job taking the bubble away pre-snap, but I want you to see we get one reroute, and he gets a piece of the second, while we get a great drop and wall from our play side stack. Drop, bang, okay? And that's all enough to get home. That's all it is, guys, okay? We do it one more time, okay? We're hands on, okay? We're dropping, we're walling, and we got guys where we need to be. Just playing base cover 3 behind it. That's all it is, okay? State championship game in 2018, okay? We saw this route. We got to be a little bit better into the boundary. A little FIB here, right? We got trips into the boundary, all right? I think we're just okay here. I don't mind this. We get a decent trade to where we need to be, but what I really want to highlight is right here, okay? Us picking up this crosser late, okay, is huge at this point in the field right there, okay? Is huge right there. That's where they want it. In theory, we knew they want to either hit this seam or find that cross, okay? The way we fit it up, we got both covered, okay? What we need to get covered is our is obviously our contain of the QB, all right? But we do a decent job holding the 4 yards. Last one for 2018, we'll jump into some newer clips. I'm okay to keep going, right, Bobby?
Yep.
Beautiful. All right, so same game, similar concept. I just want to celebrate the trades here. Okay, celebrate the trades. What we're going to get is this type of look. Everybody seems to be running it. Okay, especially a lot of the guys that are in this chat who we seem to be playing. All right, I know it's a big North Dakota State concept that we see. Okay, cross trade, right? What I love. Okay, tight condensed split. Okay, tight condensed split means our outside linebacker doesn't need to get any further inside than that. He could probably even be further outside. Okay, but he passes that off. Okay, passes that off to his inside stack. Okay, he's ready to wall this vertical seam coming. Okay. Coach, the flat's wide open. That's okay. All right. We talked about protecting vertical seams. They want to throw long and wide. All right. It's our job to rally. All right. Pursue, tackle, swarm, finish, all those different pieces. Again, can contain be better? Sure can. All right. I wonder who coaches D-line in Muskego. Okay. Back to 2019 now. Okay. Again, I just want to celebrate and see just the collisions, and you're going to see it with the spot shadow. Boom. These are pretty sights for us. Okay, that's a stack linebacker and an outside linebacker here at the top of your screen to the field, collisioning and inside number 2. This is a boundary outside linebacker just rerouting this inside. Okay, we love seeing the pinball sandwich. We love seeing the reroute. Okay, and then obviously we love seeing a high point of the football. Go get it, right? Okay, but to us, you know, that back end stuff is great, but what we love is the cage, is protecting the cage underneath, and bang, right there. Okay, that's the beauty in this all. To us, we'll skip this clip. We'll keep it rolling. Again, so Kanawak, hey, playing a little cover 2 here. All right, so we're going to be rolled up. So obviously this kid knows, you know, I'm still a reroute on 2 first. I just don't need to sprint with now, right? I have a traditional flat, right, type player there reading, the kid who's reading, you know, his number 2 through. Okay, again, hands on 2. This is where I want to see it right there. You know, we're pretty damn good right here, okay? When we see that on tape, you know, watching it late Friday night into Saturday morning, right, that's something we want to celebrate, okay? That's a muddy picture. You force a hitch. Now it's time to pursue and get home, okay? Take a lot of pride just getting hands-on, all right? Catholic Memorial, playing one of the best quarterbacks in the state. Great scheme. Now we're going to actually bring our field side stack to the trips, okay? So you get a replacement look here. He's got to work 3-2 and so on. Okay, we're playing a little game down here, just getting inside number 1's face at 2nd and 11. Okay, does a decent job. We let the rat go. You're going to see middle linebacker work out. Okay, I'd like to see him maybe get a piece, but he's okay. We're great here with our play side stack. What I want to celebrate is this late match. That's a great job here by our quick linebacker being there for that reroute. Okay, and it's a pretty good job doing our job up top. I'd love to see a more violent collision here, okay? But you're going to see a late redirect right here, all right? Kind of in that scramble drill to kind of match 1. And once again, you know, a lack of contain, all right? It's common theme here. Just so you guys know, I coach the D-line, so you know I got homework, okay? We're going to skip this guy, okay? We're going to watch this one. I got about two more, my friends, okay? Here's the big piece, okay? Again, we're going to get a check with this check. All right. What I wanted to talk here, all right, Franklin, you always going to know they're going to have 2 to 3, 4, who knows how many D1 kids on offense, okay? Division I football player here at tight end. It is an emphasis to make sure that if he's vertical that you get hands-on, right? This right here is something we love seeing, okay? Hey, need it. Hold him, punch him, whatever you need to do, okay? Do not let him have a clean release. Make it challenge. Just challenge the offense. That's all it's about, right? Great job in the boundary as well. We're over the top with our corners. Okay, we feel like we're in a good place. Okay, this initial comment, I apologize. Okay, here is going to talk, okay, about this kid's depth, right? So there's still room for growth here, right? We want to take a peek. We think we're a hair too flat and too shallow. I'd rather see us, okay, we'd rather see ourselves be able to take this throwaway when this stops. That's actually where the ball comes back, and then break on this secondary, right? And again, it's just inviting that long, shallow throw. Okay? But make them hitch, change field directions. All right. And again, obviously, probably the play of our year is a concept, obviously, we saw. I'm going to leave this comment up because I talked about things showing up on tape, guys. And here's them showing up on tape in the biggest game, in the biggest moment, right, of our year and a lot of our kids' lives. All right. So we saw this concept 3 or 4 times against Bayport in the state championship game. All right, we had to have a conversation about how to fit it up, and you're going to see really this kid do it really, really well. All right, this concept essentially looked like so. Okay, out to the flat, and the kid they want to hit, Mr. Gash, right? He's a stud. I'd want to throw it to him too. Okay, the reality is too is the habits. If you turn on our tape or you see us, we believe in loose change. When the ball's on the ground, we're going to pick it up. All right, I don't care if it's incomplete pass 30 yards down the field or anywhere else, all right? We're going to pick the ball up. You're going to see that, and then you're going to see everybody sprinting and everybody scoring, all right? So that's one thing I want to celebrate in addition to the coverage itself, okay? The coverage piece itself, all right? I love that hands are on, but what we'd love to see is us reroute this even wider so that we collision this route as well, okay? In theory. Do we think we can be tighter here off this? Yeah, we're too wide, right? So we got to be better there. I even think we can move Hunter over, okay? The reality is, though, this kid, we knew where does this ball want to go from this formation? It wants to go to that inside seam, right? We kind of showed it earlier from the year before, a different opponent, right? But watch this kid leave the flat route, stay on the inside seam. QB has to hitch. Great job, contain rush, okay? Ball's on the ground, scoop that thing up, all right? And then everybody, look, airplane block. We talked about this. I can't tell you how many penalties we've had because we can't do that correct, all right? We get an airplane. All right, and then the thought process of everybody scoring. Okay, and again, that's something we talk about really since August. All right, that's all I got, guys. I'm gonna put this up here one last time for you. If you ever want to reach out, I'm an open book. I've never had an original idea. I love to talk ball, you know, and further connect. So Sam, Bobby, I appreciate you guys putting this on and you know, taking the time.
Coach, you got one question here.
Sweet.
Do you always run a Z-Tech on a split number 2, or do you run other calls to mix it up?
Anytime we have a split number 2, that's usually what we're running. I would say that's a base rule. Now, can we buzz the flat? Can we do some other things to kind of game it up if we think you're going to try to jump? You know, we're expecting something quick into the flat, and it's a big, you know, big situation, things like that. You know, there's always wrinkles, but from a base standpoint, a base rule, yes. Any detached number 2 is an automatic Z-Tech.
Perfect. Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thank you guys.